I pledge the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. And our first order is approval of the agenda. We have any modifications? My knowledge.
Move to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Delegations, Mr. Peterson.
None this evening.
Okay. We'll move right into the proposed consent agenda. Any questions, comments?
Just one comment / question for Drew. I believe I saw the election charge on here and that's one time only. That's all it is, right?
Yep.
So just reading that in, that was 17,188.72.
Yep.
All right, so I know
That's our amount.
there's some interest in that, so that's the amount, so. So, any comment?
Any other? Oh, entertain a motion of approval,
Move to approve the proposed consent agenda.
I'll second.
moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Got right down to the old public comments. The board will accept public welcomes input from the community. Following the public comment procedure, speak your name. And each person is allowed 3 minutes to speak. Board is not allowed to discuss items not on the agenda, and we will direct the superintendent to follow up with answers to any questions. Okay. Do we have any written comment? Email?
Usually go in person first.
Well, I was just.
It's me again, Kelly Wheeler. Question, I'm gonna ask it again. We were told that our reserve fund is in the negative. And I just am having a hard time understanding how. So I'll write it down on the paper we've already gotten one response, but I think that it would add value to just address it at some point to the public, at a meeting to just kind of explain how we got there and what our plan is from here going forward, so we don't stay in the negative and continue to have to borrow money and get rid of people. So I'll write it down and give it to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Good to see you guys again. All right, Chris Howell, city pedestrian last time, kind of came here because still in wonders about everything going on and whatnot. I haven't been told anything otherwise, so I just I know that's off the agenda. I didn't see it on the agenda there today. I was just hoping to maybe shed some light to it. Can I maybe get like a letter or something that says I got reinstated if I did, or there's like some just way around, so I get a written type of thing in the future. That's what I was doing. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Public comment? Do we have any written comments?
Yes, we have two. Okay, we got one. Oh.
Hi, Pete.
Hello.
So I've had some concerns about some major bullying going on lately.
Can you state your name, please?
My name is Alexandra Keneal. Never done this, so correct me if I'm wrong. I see on your website, you guys have gone into examples of bullying and what is considered bullying, sexual harassment, and it goes into detail. Great, but how are we dealing with that at the school districts? Because my child, who has been dealing with bullying since the 3rd grade, who is now a 6th grader, and we've been dealing with it, has been told by even staff members, your child needs to get over it. Just ignore it, it'll go away. This is 3 years. And now it's boys will be boys, it's okay. It's not okay. There have been rumors that my child is gonna rape another child. And it was not addressed in a timely manner. It was brushed off for over a week, saying it was gonna be dealt with. My child has no history of violence, no history of bullying other children. What is going on in our school district? What is going on with our staff, where they feel it's okay to tell other kids, just get over it, go on with your day. To the point, my child is miserable to go to school now. 3 years. Homophobic slurs in person, to the point we had to separate his classes from these bullies. And it's gotten out of hand. It's led to physical violence. But your child did well. They did not respond in a bad way. That's great. I'm proud of my child, but what about these kids that are constantly bullying? Why are they still there? There are days in a row still there. No suspension, clearly. They're walking the halls. They're still allowed to attack other students. My kindergartner was sent home a week ago because he got injured. Got punched in the face so hard, he had to go to the dentist the next day and get checked out. And now they're worried about permanent damage. School. Oh, sorry, here's notes on the report. There's no real report. It's notes on the incident that happened. 2 different notes, 2 different staff members, they do not match. Why is that? What are we gonna do about this bullying? I know I'm not the only parent that deals with this. I'm quite frankly tired of sitting back and telling my kid, just ignore it, be the better person, be the bigger person. What can we do? Can we, as a community, it's gonna take more than you guys, it's gonna take more than the school. It's gonna take more than just us as parents. What can we do together? Can you guys hold assemblies? Maybe more assemblies if you already are. I've heard maybe 1 in the last year about bullying. Great, that's not gonna solve anything. Do staff need training? Especially in this day and age, we handle things differently nowadays. There's more things we have to be more aware. Kids identify as different things, cool. We need to adapt to that. We can't just keep brushing things under the rug. Okay. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Emma Baumgartner. I had some concerns about the safety at the elementary school, security and things. I drop off my kids and pick them up every single day at the elementary. And every day while I'm waiting down at the church for my kids, I see multiple parents during school time. School hasn't been released yet. And as you guys probably know, the elementary has later recesses. So there's some older kids out there, 4th and 5th grade, towards the end of the day. And I have watched multiple parents walk right through the gates, unlock the carabiners, and walk up to the schoolyard while my children are at recess. And I'm really concerned about it. I realize that things can be said to these parents and that it can be addressed, but I feel like there should be consequence to these actions. Continuing to not listen to the school when they're telling you, hey, you can't do that if you're going to be on school grounds, you need to come to the office. All those things are great, but when a parent is not listening, I feel like there needs to be some repercussions there. Maybe temporarily saying, you can't be on school grounds at all for so long. some type of consequence, because these parents do not have, background checks. They're not checking in through the office. And frankly, if they were to snatch a child right off school grounds, no one would honestly know. And that's concerning without, going back and looking at the cameras and all of that. It's a safety issue. And so I was wondering, what can we do about that? I did talk to Miss Upton at the elementary school, and she told me there is a border around the schoolyard that kids aren't allowed to go all the way to the fence and things like that, which is great. But there has to be something else that we could do, maybe have a duty, like securing some locks on those gates, or maybe even hiring like a retired veteran to just patrol the schoolyard around those times. I'm sure there's some that wouldn't mind even volunteering to do that, just so there's a presence out there that just says, hey, we're vigilant, we're here, we're watching, please stay off the schoolyard, or check into the office. So that's just kind of what I wanted to address was the security.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Rosa Sanchez, and I am the mother to Jaden Sanchez. Jaden is in Miss Davis class. I hope I'm in the right place because I tried reaching out already. I left messages. Pete Peterson, that name sounds so familiar to me. I called, I can't remember the name of the lady that called me back. I just hope I'm in the right place. I don't know what else to do. No one has reached out to me, and I'm scared for my son. I don't know. My son doesn't want to come to school anymore. No adult has reached out to me to let me know what's going on in kinder in my little one's class. So I don't know what to do. No, a lady reached out to me and made me feel like I had no right to know of what is going on in my son's class. I'm not asking for info as far as letting me know what's going on with the child that is creating attention in the class. I'm asking if my son is safe in class, because my son doesn't want to come to school anymore. My little one has come a long ways coming into class, and now he's finally in class. He doesn't want to come to school no more. My little one came home to me today again and told me that the same thing happened again. My son said that they have to leave his class to go into another teacher's class for safety. And my little one can only tell me so much. He's 5 years old. He's 5 years old. And I called the school, I understand, I respect Miss Davis, can't really give information. I respect the ladies in the office, can't give me information, but who can let me know? Who can let me know if my son is safe or not in class? Because my little one doesn't want to come anymore. And I don't know what's going on. I'm a mother, I have a heart, I understand if whomever or the little one needs help. But are we doing anything to help that little one? I mean, we should, because my little one, and I'm scared. I'm scared. No adult has reached out to me, and I just found this out. I want to say a week ago, or a little over a week ago. And my son's been telling me, Mommy, is it every day, Mommy, every day? He's just so angry. What do you mean every day? How come I don't know this? How come a letter in my little one's backpack, a phone call, something, just something. I'm thinking, wow, is this something that goes on and we're not told as parents what's going on? And you or the people that work in school, the adults know this, but doesn't let us parents know until some incident major happens. And that's when everything comes to the light. I'm scared. My little one's only 5 years old and I'm scared. I can't imagine if it's going on with the kinder. I can't imagine what's going on with the middle schools or high school. I don't know. I'm just scared. Jaden is my first one coming to school. I'm 38 years old. I haven't been to school in years, and he's my first one going into school. I have another 4-year-old. This is new to me. All this is new, guys. I just want somebody to reach out and let me know something. Let me know. I'm not asking info about the other child. I just want to know if my son is safe. Because my little one doesn't want to come to school. And I don't know why. So.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, let's hear one of your written comments.
I've got two. First one is from. Got Heidi Rogers, and she leaves her phone number, but I'm not gonna say that out loud. The board, I do have it if the board would like it. Since this is being broadcast, address is PO Box in Benton City. How does the superintendent justify getting a substantial pay increase last year when the district is in financial ruin? To the point we have to borrow money from the county. How does the board justify his pay increase when the school is financially in the red? And what was his most recent pay increase that happened just before the levy was? How many sick days, personal days, and vacation days does he get per school year? Running a school is like a business, and it seems as if this superintendent, as well as the board, is failing. Also, on the topic of budget, how is that 3 employees were / are on the chopping block when the budget is set at the beginning of the school year? How was all that money all of a sudden gone? Where did the money to pay them for the rest of the school year go? So that is the reason for wanting to eliminate them. How many people or services are contracted through the ESD? What they are for, and what does each service cost the district? Your levy flyer, $162,000 was supposed to go to safety. What is a specific breakdown of how those funds are going to be allocated? Those are the questions I have for the board. I would appreciate a written response and answer. Thank you for your time. Second one is from Jennifer Kinnison, teacher, coach, community member, and parent of a senior. Dear board members, would like to request that we look into a board policy on allowing athletes to petition to use their sport as a portion of as a portion of or all of APE credit. Board would need to look at how to do this because C and JV players could earn this if we didn't put the varsity letter attached to this. I know that Kaiby used to have this and many other schools do as well. This would allow some of our PE classes to be smaller, allow athletes that are already working out physically 1.5 to 3 hours a day during practice to open up another class that would align with their personal pathway. Thank you for your consideration. I apologize for not being here in person, but have prior engagements. If you have any questions or would like me to do some of the legwork, please reach out to me. Again, Jennifer Kinnison. And that's what I have for written.
Any more public comment? Okay, we'll move into new business. First is approval of minutes from last week. You weren't here. We'll entertain a motion for approval.
Minutes
Minutes from last.
I'll move to approve the minutes from March 13th.
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. Motion passes. Next is community service discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Thornton. I've invited Mr. Beth and Mr. Henry from the middle school and high school respectively. I know that the board has desired to have a conversation around community service as an expectation of our schools and potentially as graduation requirements. So I wanted to first give the board a breakdown from our principals as to what is currently required, what is recommended. And then we can have a quick discussion around some of the changes to past graduation standards that have occurred and move forward from there with some direction from the board. So Mr. Beth.
Philosophically, we believe that giving back to the community is important. We started kind of through our Character Strong program. We started before that, but it fits within what we're doing. As in kindness, growing kindness, for example, our character trait of the month this month, and it comes out in our bulletin, and then other things is forgiveness and talking about what it is and how somebody might go about doing it. So we start with how do we first give back within the building and within our community. We do that through also our Caught Being Awesome, which is where teachers recognize students for doing right things, whether it's helping somebody who's dropped their papers or picking up trash or just showing acts of kindness to others. And we celebrate that weekly. There's a reward for the name gets drawn. If they get one name gets drawn and they get a little prize, but it's really about celebrating the good things that our kids are doing, first of all, within our building and to each other. Other things that we do community service wise, we do the annual food drive. We also have a K who coordinates a sock drive for the Union Gospel Mission. We also take our leadership to annually someplace. A couple of years ago, we went and worked at the food bank for some hours. This past year, we went to the Union Gospel Mission. And doing those things, we publicize them. They're in our morning bulletins. We really try and bring the good that we're doing, and our community service is really culminated in our May building-wide community service day, where we do all kinds of things and have over the years, from painting and re-upping the bleachers and for the baseball and soccer fields and softball, to picking up trash along the city pathway, beautify the cemetery. We go and coordinate with the keepers of the cemetery and clean up headstones and the area in time for Memorial Day, which is that weekend. We go to Desert Rose Terrace and plant plants and clean up, beautify that area. We have groups that, this is all done by each individual cave. Those are our home rooms. And so the kids aren't told what to do. They, as a group, here's some things that have been done in the past. You know, what is it that we'd like to do? And they coordinate with each other and do that. We clean downtown. We've done fundraisers for local charities. We have a group that goes to one of the pet rescue places and does all of the things that are involved with pets, including some of the dirty work. Yeah, it's all part of it, but it's just a chance to give back and teach our younger kids who are new to the cave that this is just part of what we do and our expectation. So that's kind of the short version of what we try to do around community service. Any questions?
So that May event is throughout the entire school, everyone participates?
Everybody.
Yes.
So is it voluntary or kind of compulsory, or do you? just-
Yes.
Yes.
Well, honestly, if they absolutely refuse to participate, then
Not forced to.
yeah,
What's the feedback from the students?
most of them enjoy it. And, you know, some of them get a little carried away and silly, and we have to rein that in, you know. If you're doing a car wash, occasionally people get wet, but generally it's all positive and it's towards a good cause.
So what do you think your participation rate is? 90%, 95?
Well, 100% of the people that come to school that day.
Okay.
I've never had somebody come and say, pardon my French, but screw this, I'm not participating.
Yeah, that's good.
Doesn't mean it won't change this year, like that, but there's pretty good participation, even if sometimes it's grudgingly.
Mhm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. So at the high school, we have a minimum of 20 hours over the 4 years. Those 20 hours can be made up in anything that doesn't directly support the student. So it's community service things that they do. A lot of the classes and clubs do activities. So some of the stuff is Benton City Easter egg hunt, Benton City Days, Benton City Center Run. Benton City, you'll notice that there's a Benton City in front of these. So we work with the community a lot on almost everything that they do. Sometimes we wish we had a little bit more time to try to get the volunteers, but we're kind of knowing what the dates are now, so we're trying to be a little proactive. And Easter is going to be the last Sunday before you come back to school, so there'll be some Easter egg hunts. So we have to make sure we try to get some kids to help out in that. Okay. 4th of July 5K run, all the activities, everything go with that. We do a blood drive at the end of the school year. Some stuff, like I said, pit bull pin rescue, bikes for Tykes, FFA does that, and a lot of kids who aren't even in FFA. I know there's a bus load of about, how many kids do you say go to that?
Sometimes, usually about 30 to 40.
Yeah, 30 to 40 kids that do how many bikes a year? A lot. And so, and then they even come back here, and there's bikes for Tykes in Benton City, that they've helped out doing that too. Which we didn't know, and though once we do that, it was like, yeah, we can do that too. American Legion activities, Winterfest, concessions. Actually, we have kids who volunteer for other classes that too many of them are participating and don't have open time, so they go in and volunteer their time for that. School activities and events. The art club has stuff. You notice I want to say it's the historical cut. I don't know, Benton City sign that's down there on the corner. The art club was one who went down and repainted that last year, and I think it looks tremendous. That was something I really wanted to get done. We have red ribbon weeks. We do, and there's a lot of stuff we do. But the minimum amount of hours is 20 in the 4 years. Now, does that stop you from graduating? No, it's not going to, but we encourage them to make sure that they're doing time and giving back to the community, because that's important. You guys have any questions? I can send you a list if you want. I've got it here.
I'd love to see that.
Okay.
So as far as the 20 hours, is that just sort of on your honor system, or how's that tracked?
So what they do is they have a sheet of paper that they go in, and they have you sign up, they go to work for where you work, and you sign up on the hours that they did, and then they turn that into their portfolio, and then that's just added up inside there, and they write it down. And they use those for scholarships and stuff like that. So that's how it's
What
tracked.
percentage of students would you say meet that?
That's a good question, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna say it's over 80%. Okay, because a lot of kids just do because they like to just help. It's amazing how many people come out and just help if you ask. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'm just like, hey, can you guys all come out and help me? And they're like, yeah, let's go. And they'll help set up the football field, or they'll do whatever they want. I mean, not they want, whatever I need them to help me with. We had to bring in some heavy equipment a couple of years ago, and I had 4 or 5 boys up there to help me right away, no question. So, and I tell them, I'll write you down for time. Guys are like, oh, great. I told kids who, so after volleyball matches this year, I was responsible for the gym, and after basketball games, and I just had kids come up and just volunteer their time, wrote down all their names. And I told them, hey, I'll buy pizza for you guys at the end of the year. They're like, can you just put us down for volunteers? So I'm like, perfect, I'll do that. And so that's what I've done to meet too. But I did have to buy a few kids pizza, which is no big deal, to be honest. So any other questions? And I'll get the list to you guys.
Great. All right,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, up next, board comments.
Well, I'll just continue with the last one in the board comments, I think, so.
Can we back up for just a second? No, not really, but what I want to make sure, because the board asked for this discussion, I want to make sure that the board's satisfied with the level of discussion. If we need to take a more specific look at requiring more or different hours, then that's something we obviously would need to put into board policy 2410 as far as graduation requirements. But I just wanted to get a feel for where you're at as far as.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I believe when we graduated, it was a requirement, I think 24 or 40 hours. It's a graduation requirement and you had to document it yourself.
Correct.
Yeah, well, so I made the request to add that to the agenda for that specific reason. I saw that it had been removed from the requirement, but I'm heartened to hear the level of activity that we have at both middle school and high school and that most people are participating. I'd be open to continuing a discussion about whether or not we think that makes sense to turn that into a graduation requirement. I certainly think 20 hours over 4 years isn't hard, can do that math, or whether we want to have more or less or whatever it may be, but I think, every person owes the generations that came before them a level of gratitude, and particularly when you're receiving an education. And I think being able to build those connections with your community are important. And I think it's something we should certainly entertain. So,
And just for the record, this was at one point a part of the requirement from the state of
Right.
the senior project that went away in 2015. And the way that the state altered it was to then put it into their personal pathway as a district level responsibility, which then, of course, doesn't have the same weight as a state requirement. So historically, this is something that all high schools have had to deal with, and with the changes in the senior requirements. So
and so we also have the certificate of merit. Is that still active? And
Mr. Henry?
I do not believe so.
okay,
Yeah.
that may be an old policy on here that I
I
was
think if
thinking.
you look at the new policy, it's like pre-2020.
Okay. I was gonna ask, 2016. So I was gonna ask how many students meet that, but sounds like that's outdated.
The one we need to look at.
We certainly can just take, I think it wouldn't be a bad discussion for the board to just take a look at the overall graduation requirements. And as how they've changed over time. Oddly enough, we've really had the highest level of consistency here since the class of 2018. From a state standpoint, as far as it used to be, and Mr. Henry would attest to this, it used to be your graduation requirements changed about every year, every other year. And it was tough to take players without a scorecard. So we've seen some level of consistency, but it might be a good idea for us to revisit that.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't want it to turn into an administrative burden for any of the staff or anything where they have to track it all, but if it's something pretty straightforward, that would be.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for arranging that. Thank you both for coming, Mr. Beth and Mr. Reed.
All right, any other?
Well, I have, do they have any kind of volunteer stuff, not hours, tracking the hours, but for middle school? Just to get the kids, it might just be like a 2-hour volunteer to clean maybe the recess area. Just to kind of get them,
Not a graduation requirement.
no, not graduation requirement, but I'm just saying something like a community thing, but to get the kids started, in the middle school, might just be a 1 day or half a day for the whole year. Say, hey, we're gonna go volunteer. And I don't know if they have anything like that in middle
Well,
school.
that would be our May Day,
Your May Day?
or school-wide
Oh, okay.
community service day.
Okay.
And I want to make sure you guys understand that we let them, the students know, if they help at a church, they help at a community and stuff, and they have people sign those off, they can do that.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways they get community service. It's mind boggling.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities.
Yes. So
Do sporting events, would they count for community service?
if
Yeah.
they're working not with their class that's putting on the concession, so a lot of people come in and just help out. And so, yeah, you get to write that off. Absolutely.
Yeah, I used to be on the board of Little League, Alex was, and there's a lot of opportunities with the Little League, AAU, other sports, so.
Well, that was one of them. One of the classes went to raise money to help support the Little League and give them buy the equipment they say they need.
We're gonna clean up the fields.
Yeah.
Well, always annual events there as well. Great. Thank you.
All right. We'll move into board comments.
The only thing I got is that I know some safety issues were brought up and, we'll make sure we get on top of that right away. And we'll get back to you Somebody will get back to you tomorrow and find out, at least give you an update. what's going on. So,
What was the last comment I angered, sorry?
there were some safety issues that were brought up. And I know she had some issues with her child, and she had, nobody had got back to her, so I was telling her that. Somebody will get back to her tomorrow, and just give her an update with what's going on.
I thought that last year.
I had one comment on, I was in contact with DOT engineer for Washington State for the highway, you know, when we were having troubles with the people running past the crossing guards. And he got back with me the other day and he said the state will pay for one flashing light at a crosswalk. It has to be the one in front of the skate park. And so all we have to do is agree to maintain it once it's installed and provide power to it. So if we can, it's just a LED lights with a button like you see at other crosswalk. Flashing beacons.
Just curious, Dale, did he tell you why it had to be that one?
But because of the skate park and I don't know, it's some fund that they drew from,
Alright.
and he said they would pay for that and have it installed this summer and you know, coordinate with Mr. Peterson to make sure we sign the agreement.
Is there an application process through the Department of Transportation?
Yeah, well, he's gonna bring it to us, bring the form and
Okay,
come and they're gonna have a guy come out and walk it down and look it over and bring an agreement. And then they hope to have it done by July. Because that's the end of their fiscal year and they need to spend the money. But anyway, so that was a little progress and I told him we had two others. He said, well, maybe next year. See how this goes.
I'll let Mr. Adamson know.
All I had. Anything else? Moving into the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Dale. First thing, I just want to let the board know, and of course, if you have any questions at any time, feel free, so especially since we've got Mr. Henry and Mr. Fett here. We had a really successful eighth grade transition night last week. I would say from my conversations, 75–80% at least of our eighth graders, going to be ninth graders, participated in that event. It's very well organized on both parts, so I'd like to commend them for that work. That's honestly probably one of the toughest transitions that any kid makes is moving from eighth grade to high school. You go from being the oldest kid in your school to all of a sudden being the youngest in a matter of months. So the curriculum adoption process is continuing. We will have a recommendation of the curricula, both in secondary math and secondary ELA. We're still aiming for mid-May. So we'll have, we've got some final presentations to be made, and then hopefully be at that board meeting second week in May to make a recommendation. And then a follow-up to the email, and I want to apologize to the board because I gave you all the details of the STEM Foundation community grant meeting that we're having at Blank Slate, and gave you all the details except the date. It's April 19th from 8:30 to 12. And this is a grant that we're receiving as a part of a larger grant that's going to a lot of different education programs, CBC, WC Tri-Cities, also some community folks that are all going to be recipients of a $10,000 grant. The catch is, and one of the reasons I'm very excited about this is even for these outside agencies that aren't necessarily here in town, they must use that $10,000 grant from each of their agencies to assist Benton City kids. So this meeting is to discuss opportunities at the high school and middle school along the lines of career development, career pathways, opportunities for apprenticeships, volunteering, different things of that nature. As well as potentially moving into the elementary with some STEM-like curricula and some career exploration, very base level exploration at the elementary level. It's being headed up by a woman named Deb Bowen from the STEM Foundation. And Luann Stokey, who was the representative that came and met with the administrative staff last week. They're very excited for this. There were two grants awarded out of 80 applications statewide. And one of the reasons that Benton City was picked, because they're really trying to come up with plans that are not one size fits all. They know very well, and we certainly know well, that we can't take a plan that was developed and put into place in Seattle or Everett, for that matter, and plop it down on our doorstep and think that we're going to see even similar results. This is going to be a real ground floor, from the ground up type of process. The development will last at least a year, and then at that time, we will have the opportunity to apply for an implementation grant. Significantly more at the end of that, but hopefully by getting community partners together. I know that Luann was reaching out to the Benton City Chamber of Commerce, as well as a representative from the city, to get them there, that once we have these community partners in place, we're going to be able to move forward with giving our kids real local experiences. Kind of what Josh was saying about real world opportunities, and hopefully keeping some of our kids here in the future and the opportunities to stay here. So very excited about it. I heard from Josh. So if any of the other board members would like to participate in that, just let me know. Hopefully we don't have 3, so we don't have to publicize it as a meeting. And that's what I've got.
Okay. All right, any questions, comments? Okay, well, then that'll end our regular scheduled meeting. Looks like we'll go into an executive session for performance of public employees. 30 minutes, no business to follow. Then we'll be adjourned. Thank you for coming and participating.